And welcome inside the Backstage Pass here for a Friday. It's TGIF version of the show. Always love these Friday shows because it's always getting into the weekend. And I'm off, so that's a good thing. I don't have to worry about the day job. We can just focus on other things, family, music, faith, and all those good things that we think about on the weekend too. Time to kind of step back and just relax is always a good thing. Presented by our good friends over at Hank Jr. Productions and, of course, our good friends at Bangtail Whiskey. And check those guys out if you got website questions. They're at the bottom of the screen there, and also the official merchandise provider of the Backstage Pass, MitchMacs.com. You can go there now and get some men's and ladies apparel, and of course, coffee mugs and a lot of cool stuff there if you want to check that out too as well. Pleased to welcome in here. She won season 16 of American Idol, was following her career before it started and then some, and she's got a new single that came out today across all the digital platforms. It's called One That Got Away. We got her today. She didn't get away. Maddie Poppe joins us here on the show. Maddie, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
It is fantastic to finally catch up and do this with you. I am super excited to have you here on the program today. So, hey, let's start right there. Always great when Friday comes. Got all these press releases, new music comes out. Fans are ready to go find new music. And One That Got Away. Tell me about this and kind of the writing and the recording behind it and where this idea came from.
Yeah, I wrote this song after a very good friend of mine went through a really tough breakup, and it was very sudden and out of the blue and didn't make any sense at the time. And obviously she was heartbroken. And, we talked through it, and I just remember like seeing so clearly that like she was going to be just fine, and that, this wasn't going to like shake her in the end. And, but she was so, obviously devastated by it right away. And it's funny, when I wrote this last July, and now that it's being released, a little under a year later, she's in a very good spot, and she is the one that got away.
Great title for it, no doubt too. And also love the album cover. Tell me about that too. Was that kind of by design, or was that sometimes they're impromptu, sometimes it just kind of happen out of nowhere? Was it kind of a, I guess, by design type of cover, or was it just impromptu?
Well, can I tell you, I got to be honest with some. I got to be honest.
Okay.
First off, can I ask you? I'm not finding. I'm trying to share this on my page. That's why I keep looking over here and I can't find it.
Let's see. I wonder if it's having some technical issues as of right now, but
Anyways, I'm gonna keep reloading it.
Okay.
If I keep looking down. Oh, I just see it. Okay. Anyways, what I want to. Okay, so I was gonna say, yeah, the album artwork. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me explain this to you.
Okay.
A lot of times, most of the time, professional musicians, have things prepared weeks in advance.
Mm-hmm.
This was very last minute, and I stayed up until 5 a.m. the night before I posted it, working on it because it was not finished. Because I had an initial plan, and then I ended up not liking it, and then I had another plan, and then we weren't crazy about that. And so, yeah, it's just me being indecisive. And so finally, at 5 a.m. the night before, I got it. So
I love that. It all comes together, like I said, when you least expect it, and you finish that job, no doubt. Hey, take me back to that competition. Of course, the cool thing is, we were talking before the show, getting back there next week. People can tune in Monday night on ABC, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. You're going to do a fantastic performance with another former American Idol out there, Lacey K. Booth, Texas native, no doubt. I just saw her in Nashville at the CRS event we covered up there too. So exciting times to return to the old stomping grounds, but at the same time, take me back, I guess, to season 16. This competition gets better year in and year out with some of the best talent in the world. And from the auditions to the Hollywood Week to everything, top 24, top 10, the eventual winner, the experience that you had, and honestly, the ride it took you on.
Man, yeah, I'm so excited to be going back on Idol, and just to be back on that stage. It was pre-recorded, so just being back on that stage was unreal and so cool. And it just brought back like a flood of memories that I was like not prepared for, but I was so happy to experience again. And yeah, I mean, I've been watching this season, and I think this year's roster is some of the most talented people that have ever been on that stage, and it's been so much fun to watch. But yeah, to circle back around, Yeah, Lacey, I got to see Lacey a couple weeks ago, and that was great. It's always good to see her. I'm such a fan of hers. Also, I think her most recent EP, I mean, every song on there is so good, and I really appreciate her as not only an artist but as a female country music artist, because I think that she's doing something so different and unique, and she doesn't fit in any sort of box. She doesn't. She's not conforming to, I guess, what sometimes it's easy to just follow the trail that everyone else has paved, but she's kind of paving her own trail, which I think is very cool, and I'm very impressed with her as a person and an artist.
Definitely so. I'm good friends with her dad, and no doubt, like I said, it's been in her blood and DNA for a long time to go out there and be a musician, follow her dreams, and just it was a pleasure to see her at Old Red there in Nashville during the CRS week for I'd say just for a lot of memories, a lot of conversations we got to have, especially growing up here in Texas. Let's ask you about this. Let's take you back to the last album, which I loved a lot, and it's what I'm talking about is Whirlwind, and it really took people on a ride from that first song, Not Losing You, which really, to me, set the tone for the album, and the choice of songs and just how much fun it was to get this music out to fans. The title of the album, take me through the entire project, because y'all had some really, really kick-ass songs on there. You really did.
Thank you so much. That album, I went to a few writing sessions. My first ever co-writing session was in October in LA. And it's the first. I'd always written by myself in my bedroom, and so it was the first time I'd ever written with other people. And yes, it was definitely intimidating, and it was a lot of pressure. But I don't think the album was quite in full swing yet. But then January 2019 came around, and they literally told me, "You have 42 days to make this album. You're going to be in LA for 42 days, and by the time you leave, your album has to be finished." And I was like, that is so much pressure. People take years making albums. But I do understand that it was we had to do it super quick because I'd won Idol the year before, and they wanted it to, we didn't have a lot of time to spare. But 42 days, basically, I wanted to be the kind of artist who wrote every song that I ever released, but unfortunately, in that circumstance, I wasn't able to, because I was writing every single day and I was trying to write the best songs I could. But then by the end of it, I got pitched a ton of songs too. And it just so happened that if I didn't beat the song that was pitched to me, then I was going to cut the song that was pitched to me. So I ended up I think I only wrote 5 of the 10 songs or something like that. So yeah, that was, I had to swallow my pride a little bit there, but, it was just am I too proud to put aside my writing credit, or do I want a chance for my songs to do really well and put out really good music? And so, I always say it's something interesting about my last project, Whirlwind, and this new project. I think the biggest difference is on Whirlwind, if you look at the credits, there's all kinds of different writers and producers. I mean, there's got to be 50 different people involved in the creative process on that. And it's funny, if you listen to the songs, you can tell that other people tried to write my story. I think they were pitched this idea Maddie's from Iowa, and write a song about this small town girl who went to the big city for the first time, kind of thing. And that's what they came up with, and they did a great job. But it sounds like all these other people are trying to tell my story if you listen through these songs, and that's what they were told to do. And the difference this time around is I'm telling my own story, which is it's a lot of pressure, but it's also so freeing, because it's I can say what I want to say, and nobody's putting words in my mouth this time,
It's kind of, let's say, use the Tom Petty phrase, the free falling, but it kind of feels like just a really great album. I loved it. Got it when it first came out. So if you guys are just looking for another great music to check out, go grab it across all the platforms out there. Specifically, I tell you, for me, what did it, man, was Nothing Good Comes Out of California. Tell me about that one. I know there's got to be a good backstory there, right?
Yeah, I can't say I came up with that. I walked in the room and Tom Douglas, and I wrote it with Tom Douglas and Topher Brown, and Tom Douglas wrote The House That Built Me for Miranda
Mm-hmm.
Lambert. And so, and I think you can tell, because you can tell that that's his writing, because that song, I can't take credit for barely any of those lyrics because he had that idea when I walked in the room. I can say I was a really big part of the melody, but he came up with those lyrics and had that whole thing figured out before I even walked in the room. And you can tell it's just so like well written and well spoken, and he's so good with words and lyrics and getting to the point and getting his point across. And so, yeah, that was his idea. He wanted to write a song about a girl, a Midwest girl going to LA for the first time, and maybe people being a little nervous for her.
Well, it definitely struck me, no doubt. And then, of course, another one that stood out to me was on there, I believe it was track 5, Made You Miss. And I definitely vibe, tone, feel, definitely fits Maddie Poppe, no doubt, in the style. I'm sure there's a good story behind that too, right?
You know what? I wish there was a good story behind that, but that's one of the ones that I was pitched. And that came from Johan Carlson, who is a massive producer who did My House for Flo Rida, did
Mm-hmm.
A Dangerous Woman, Ariana Grande, and has a bunch of new Katy Perry cuts. And so he's like a powerhouse out there. And that was one of my first co-writes ever was with him. And he's got he's a producer with Max Martin out there. And so I was over at their place, and that was so insane to be sitting on the couch that like Taylor Swift wrote Reputation on, and she did all those like diaries of herself writing them.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the couch she did that on. And even when it came down to like the bathroom, I was like, oh my gosh, Ariana probably sat on this toilet. Can you believe but anyways, yeah, so that song was pitched to me also. And I think I made one little change because there was a part that was a little edgy and I wanted to change it to be a little bit more family friendly. So they did give me a writing credit on it, which was cool, but I'm not actually a writer on it.
Okay. I like that. Like I say, it's still a story to tell, no doubt. Hey, I'm going to go back to some old school Maddie Poppe, how long I've been following you. And this is the Songs from the Basement, 2016, I believe, when this came out. Indie
Oh my
popped out there.
goodness.
Yeah. So I'm,
Man,
well, you got to do your homework, girl. That's a part of what we do here on the show, man.
Not everybody does. So it's really cool when you do.
Hey, tell me what you remember most about it. I mean, just people say, well, my first record is not as good as the one I put out now. I'm going to go to more singles or EPs. I had no idea what I was doing as a songwriter at that time. I just wanted to get some music out to people. But that is a fantastic album. I loved everything that you did on there, from I Don't Care to Belong to The Reason, to a lot of different cool songs in there. Tell me about that project, what you remember most. And that was just great music to get out to fans at that time, right?
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say. Yeah, I mean, that was my first ever release of anything, and I'm so grateful I did that because it gave people content when I was on Idol. It gave them something to listen to, and I think that was a part of me as an artist. I wasn't just somebody who sang in the shower occasionally and just tried out for American Idol. I was really working for this a lot before I even went on the show, and so. My dad and I did that album together. I wrote all of those songs on my own, but my dad produced every single one of those tracks, which was really cool. And he put a ton of time into that. And yeah, I was so proud that we did that together. And yeah, I mean, obviously I listen back to my old stuff and I'm like, man, I've grown a lot, but like I never regret any of that. I know there's people who remove their old stuff or are embarrassed of their old stuff. And like, sure, there's stuff on there that makes me cringe. Some words that I said that I'm like, ugh, I would reword that now. But I'm sure in 20 years, I'm going to look back on the stuff I'm doing right now and think, I think I would have done that differently. So I think it's all about growth. And yeah, I can't say that I regret anything about that album for sure.
You shouldn't. Like I said, I love that one. And like you said, gave people a little taste before getting on the show there. One of the ones that stood out to me was Don't Ever Let Your Children Grow Up. If I got that title correct, I'll make sure I did. That's a mouthful, no doubt. But one that probably still sits close to you. And for me, look, being a dad now, it's kind of, I mean, there it is. There's that song that kind of brings you in. And I just had my little girl just a couple of years ago, and my first one, and she's now going on 25 months next week. Crazy how time just zips by, but definitely a song that's very powerful and a song that sends a message to a parent out there.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'm not a mom. I hope to be someday, but I wrote that actually after I had gotten to spend all kinds of time in the kindergarten room when I was a senior in high school. I did kind of an office practice thing, and they gave me a credit for it, and I went down, and all I did was, sit with these kids and talk to them about shapes and numbers and quiz them on their letters and all that. And it was the most simple stuff. And it just made me think, like, and they're just learning about numbers. Like, they don't even know their addresses yet. Like, all of the things that they're about to learn in life, the good and the bad. It's just like, it made me so sad because they're so naive at that age, and they're so just oblivious to the world around them, and they don't judge each other. It was like so eye-opening because I would be down at the high school end, and it was all one building, K through 12. So I was down at the high school end, and I'd feel insecure if my hair looked bad, or if my outfit didn't match, or like I would always feel like people were judging me and staring at me. And then you'd hear people say stuff about you and blah blah blah. That's just how high school is. But then I'd go down to the kindergarten room, and they were just like, everyone mingled with everyone. No one judged anyone on how they looked, or their skin color, or like what their upbringing was like, or where they came from. And I just was like, it was so sweet and so awesome to see. And it's crazy because I've watched those kids. They were in first grade at the time, and I believe they're in sixth grade now. And I see them every once in a while out and about, and I don't know that they remember a lot of those things from kindergarten, because I don't remember a lot of things from kindergarten, but I see them now, and I see the way that they've changed, and the way that kind of, even like some of them have closed themselves off, how carefree they used to be in kindergarten and how they are now. And I realize that's part of growing up, but also, I'm just like, wow, I wrote that song when like I was so inspired by you as a 5-year-old. And now you're like, now you're becoming like what I wrote this song about. And it's so sad. It's so sad. So yeah, that song and that group of kids will always have a very special place.
I love it. Love it. Well, I'll tell you what, I would love to have you perform for us here on the show if you're game to play one. I love the single today, which is right on Friday. We hit it today. One that got away is across all the platforms. So make sure you guys check that out. We're going to do a couple of songs if you're cool with that. What's up first? I mean, of course, I'd say the single's a great place to start, but
I think we're going to do the single. How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel good with that, girl.
Yeah.
It's Friday, and I'm going out to a festival tonight. Get to do some more music stuff tonight.
Are you?
It's always good.
Are you in Texas right now?
I'm in Texas, down here in Beaumont, Texas. We've got a little festival called Riverfest tonight, which is down here in a little city called Port Neches. And two countries, I say Texas, they're both Texas artists. One band's called Flatland Cavalry. They've toured with a bunch of big-time artists on the Texas scene. Another guy, there's a guy named Randall King down here, and Josh Ward. There's a couple of big country guys down here. And one of the guys, one of my best friends, John Wolf, is going to perform tonight. He's a classic, traditional country artist. So we get to hang out with him tonight, swap some shirts, and enjoy some good fried, nasty food at a music festival. There you go.
That sounds so good, but also like that kind of food is so good in the moment. And then immediately after you eat it, you're like, what have I done? And then 2 hours later, you're on the floor and you're like, what did I do? Yeah.
That's the way I ask myself. Yeah, it'd be fun tonight. Here it is.
For me.
Yeah, I will eat a funnel cake from Maddie Poppe. I will say that out there just to everybody. It's one that got away. It's Maddie Poppe. Of course, the website, just the name you see there, .com. Make sure you do that at MaddiePoppe.com. And definitely, I'm going to talk about Going, Gone. We come back after this music performance and, of course, the commercial break here for our friends at Bangtail Whiskey and MitchMacs.com. It's all yours.
Am I going now?
You're going now. Go for it.
By the way, you have a great radio voice.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You do. Not everybody has that. Okay.
Here we go.
This is the first time I'm playing it, so here we go.
Here we go.
Everything was fine, didn't see a single sign. What a perfect fit, too far gone, too late to fix, but never hesitating, was starting to feel safety. Who could blame me? 'Cause 2 weeks ago, you were still calling me baby. 23 wild and crazy. It's news to me, you couldn't take it no more. I'll be the one that got away. I'll be the one you wish you had. I'll be the one that you remember, 'cause you let my love run bad. I'll be the one that got away. I'll be the one you wish you had. I'll be the one that you remember, 'cause you let my love run bad. I still got your shirt, only wear it when it hurts. I should throw it out to know that I can live without you. I still listen to the records I showed you, even though it takes me back to when you were still calling me baby. 23 wild and crazy. It's news to me, you couldn't take it no more. I'll be the one that got away. I'll be the one you wish you had. I'll be the one that you remember, as you let my love run bad. I'll be the one that got away. I'll be the one you wish you had. I'll be the one that you remember, as you let my love run bad. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Baby, 23 wild and driving me crazy. So it's news to me that you say you couldn't take it. Don't wanna be my baby no more. No more. I'll be the one that got away. Be the one you wish you had. I'll be the one that you remember, 'cause you let my love run bad. I'll be the one that got away. I'll be the one you wish you had. I'll be the one that you remember, 'cause you let my love run bad. Bye, bye, bye. 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 Bye, bye, bye.
I love it, no doubt. It's that tone in your voice that has always kept me going ever since you were on that season, no doubt. And it's just a beautiful song, one that got away from Maddie Poppe here on the Backstage Pass, presented by our good friends over at Bangtail Whiskey and MitchMacs.com and Hank Jr. Productions. And with those fine sponsors, we're going to take a quick time out, get a word in, pay some bills here on the show, come back, talk about, I guess we have time for, Bring It On Home. There's a guy named Philip Phillips she worked with on a music video that I love so much. And Going, Gone. We'll get back to some Whirlwind. And, of course, what are some of the next things that are coming out? I'm sure there's some other projects from Maddie's camp that are looking good here for 2022. Right now, timeout, word from Bangtail Whiskey and some other folks. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And it's every day and sometimes into the evening hours we do it here. Monday through Friday, 3:30 to 6:30. The Backstage Pass are presented by MitchMacs.com, our friends at Hank Jr. Productions. And, of course, to talk to Brandon today, man, Bangtail Whiskey is in some of the Nashville bars now. You can go out there, get whatever cocktail you like. It's some good, smooth stuff. And, man, I wouldn't drink anything else out there but Bangtail Whiskey, especially on a Friday when I need a glass of something really, really good out there to get myself to kind of wind down. May have a glass tonight at the festival coming up, the Port Neches River Fest tonight. We'll be out there with John Wolf and Flatland Calvary. Hope to see everybody out there. Back here with the season 16 winner of American Idol, Maddie Poppe, on the show. One that got away is the current single across all the digital platforms. So take me back to 2018. Going, Going, Gone comes out, and huge single. Does a lot of cool things for you. Man, just the lyrics in there really stuck with me. Great writing, great song. Kind of tell me the arrangement there, because that was just a terrific song to, like you said, kind of further on past the competition, put stuff out there for fans, and just put good music in people's hands.
Yeah, well, that song was my winter single, and so I was not part of the writing process on that one. And that was pitched to me when there were like, gosh, I feel like there were 7 people left, and they got us all in a room and they said, okay, if you win, you gotta do a winner single, and you gotta pick out of these songs. We're gonna pitch you 5 songs or so, and then you gotta pick which one you want your single to be. And I did not take it seriously at all, because I was like, I'm not gonna win this. There's 7 people left, and there's no way. Like, I had no expectation of winning or any idea that I could even win. So anyway, so I didn't take it seriously, and I sat with the songs for a little bit, and obviously Going, Going, Gone stood out amongst the rest of the songs for sure. And so I was like, I'm gonna go with that one. And then I had to record it in the studio like a couple days later. And I remember the A&R from Hollywood was like, okay, are you ready to record this song? And I was like, yeah, totally. And I had never listened to it one time. She said, you got the lyrics down? And I was like, yep. And no, I had no idea about the song. So I went in the studio, and it was way too high. They had to pitch it down. I just remember recording it, and really not giving it I wasn't really giving it my best effort, because I literally thought no one's ever going to hear this. So it doesn't matter. So anyways, and you know what? Inside scoop, actually, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I feel like I'm going to say it anyway. So Julia Michaels actually sang the demo on that song. And Julia Michaels is amazing. And so she sang the demo on it. And so that was a lot to live up to at first, obviously. And there, like I said, I didn't give a great effort recording this. And there were some things that the producer had asked me to do vocally that just were not my style. And I was like, Julia does this little thing in her voice. It's like a little, I don't even know. It's like a little whine in her voice. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Like a little inflection. Yeah.
Yes. And it's very, very specific to her. And I remember he asked me to do that. And I was like, I can't do that. And that's not me. And I just was like, I don't know how to do that. I'm not going to do that. And then I hear the final version, and sure enough, it's in the song. And I was like, well, I don't remember singing that. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they let Julia in on a couple little tiny inflections. They just took her inflections. And there's another very big artist in the industry, who I will not name. I'll tell you after. But so it's rumored that Julia is all over her songs, and if you really listen, you can totally hear it's Julia. But you wouldn't know it unless somebody told you. And so it's a very inside scoop.
Oh, all right. Get the news after, and there you go. Keep it confidential. No doubt. That's the advantage of hosting a radio program, no doubt. Hey, I saw it a few weeks back. Speaking of this lineup, the final top 10 are doing Disney Week this week. And, of course, always fun to have those theme rounds I guess going through the competition, meeting so many great people, so much great talent there. Did you have fun with the different themed rounds that they put you guys through?
You know, I am grateful for the themes in a way, because if you just told me, "Hey, sing any song," like how impossible would that be to choose, you know? So it is good that they gave you categories. Um, However, some of those categories were really tough,
Yeah.
and we're like, I don't know what I'm going to sing for this, so we've got to, you know, but it definitely it's a great way for people to kind of see the true artist, I guess,
Hmm.
because everybody puts their own spin on things, and that's what makes, what makes everybody special. Are you watching this season?
I am, yes. Pretty
Okay.
much. It's down to that top 10. Yeah.
Yeah, so two people on this season who I really I think always make it their own and do a great job, and I'm such a fan of both of these two people, is Leah
Oh
Marlene
God, yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
Fritz.
Yes.
And I think those
Yes.
two always put their own spin on things. And I think no matter where they go in the show, which I think they're both going to go very far.
No, absolutely.
But I think that they're going to have such a great career after this, because they know who they are, and they're true to themselves. And people love that, people love when somebody is established like that. I know that, those two are really popular, and I think that's a really big part of the reason why.
Yeah, Fritz is amazing. Leah, Marlene, like you said, know themselves as an artist, authenticity. They're just true singers, and like whatever they put their, like I said, their guitars to, or just the microphone itself, whatever they sing, it's just fantastic songs. And I really enjoyed that judges pick last week, getting a chance to see the judges kind of get a selection of 3 songs, and then they walk up to Ryan and kind of go through the category like a board, and hey, I'm gonna do that one, and then have to guess what judge was picking the song. I thought that was it brought out the artist colors a little bit more, their personality, and I thought it was just a great round. What do you think about that? Because that was kind of a new twist on the competition.
I thought that was so cool, and Caleb and I were watching, and I was like, man, I wish we would have gotten this. Like, that would have been so cool to have that been one of our rounds.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting though. I gotta say something. There's no way Lionel Richie was picking those songs. Somebody on his team was clearly picking those, and they couldn't have made it more obvious. There's no way that Lionel picked a deep track from Olivia Rodrigo's album. And like, just some of the stuff he was picking, I was like, no, there's no way he knows this. Like, I was like, no. So I know somebody had to have done that for him, but we were laughing so hard. Like, come on.
I love that too, and I'm kind of agree with you, dude. I'd sit there, look at my wife, and go, "Man, Olivia Rodrigo, Lionel, it just doesn't."
No way.
I mean, what a great catalog of music that he's done. But I'm like, my goodness. Speaking of that, back to your season, who was the judge that kind of most impressed you with their critique and their style, and just the getting involved in a competition like that? So many things you can say, you can't say, but at the same time, you got to keep it positive, upbeat. I mean, definitely say your true colors when something's not right, at pitchy or whatever the critique things that you guys get from music. But who was your favorite judge to kind of get the feedback from?
Man, I think they're all so great in their own ways, but I think Katie and I had to kind of a special little connection, because she'd often say that she saw herself in me, and that was such a compliment in itself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that she used to do kind of that style that I was doing on the show. And so I always loved to hear from her. But Lionel, since the start, always, there's actually something, it's a behind the scenes thing that I've never told anybody that I heard this. But I did hear it. So Lionel, I from the start, I could tell like he was into me, and I thought it was super cool. And from my first audition, there's a lot that wasn't shown, but some of the things he said to me were just very, very sweet, and like such a compliment coming from him. And first round of Hollywood Week, I remember he gave me a standing ovation. And I remember this very vividly. It was top 50, and I was about to go in for they call it the final judgment or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You walk the thing, and then they tell you whether you made it to the top 24 or not. And I was standing out there waiting, and Lionel's girlfriend came up to him And she said it loud. I don't think she thought I could hear, but she said to him, she said, "Is that the one you want to win?" And he goes, and he like looked at her like, "Oh my gosh, she's gonna hear you. You can't sing it that loud." But he looked at her and he's like, yeah, that's her. And I was like, getting through. I mean, it was such a cool thing because I was just like, they're talking about me in their house. So anyways, that was a cool moment that I've never told anybody about because I know it might sound kind of like cocky or whatever, but it was a very cool thing to hear them talk about it right in front of me. They didn't know I heard, but
I love that. And thank you for sharing that story. So let me ask you about this guy who's been on there before. Fritz had a just fanatic moment, that fanboy moment, just a couple of weeks ago on there too, and he had to follow the performance of Philip Phillips coming back promoting his latest single. Bring It On Home. What was that like to work with Philip on the song? And I thought it was a crazy but cool music video that you guys got to put together at the same time to put that out there to fans to look at wherever they stream or YouTube or wherever they find music videos. Kudos on that song and to work with such a talented Philip Phillips.
Yeah, I gotta say, I never met Philip Phillips before that. Like, we all recorded it in our own studio, like our own places, and so I never met. I knew Zach Barnett from American Authors, but I had not met Philip Phillips before then. And the first time I met him was actually, I think, I think it was January 2020. We did like this benefit show together and we finally met. And I was like, "Hey, we have a song together." And he's like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah." But yeah, but I mean, I've heard great things and we just got to talk for a little, like a second, but he's very nice. And yeah, I think it's so cool. I would love to do another collaboration like that because I was so honored to have been asked by American Authors, to be part of that. And of course, to be on a song with Philip Phillips. So yeah, I would love to do another collaboration, but so if you know anybody, let them know.
I tell you what, some things about being in the music industry now that I am for the last 2 or 3 years. There's some buttons we, might be able to push there too. Like I said, always good things, emails to send out. Let's just put it this way: we'll talk afterwards, and I might have to give you some information there. So that's a good thing too, which is good. Hey, I love when artists kind of not necessarily change the game, but it's kind of cool that Christmas is so close to their hearts, very near and dear with family and kids. Just a cool time to spend. Whether it be Thanksgiving or going into Christmas with that long month of you turn on the radio station and all you hear is Christmas music, which is good. But back, was it 2020, I believe you put out an EP, Christmas from Home, if I'm correct on that title. And you got to, put your flavor on some of the classics and then some things that we, like I said, just look forward to hear your own personal touch, your lyrics, everything, your voice, your sound. Tell me about the Christmas album and how cool that was to kind of another side of Maddie Poppe.
I never thought I was going to do a Christmas album because I love Christmas, but I never thought that was going to be me. And when when Hollywood asked me to do a Christmas song our first year together, I was like, "Oh, Christmas song, why?" But then whatever. Then I ended up doing it. Yeah, no, to be honest, if I'm going to be totally transparent here, I had new music that I was going to put out in spring of 2020 and then pandemic happened. I got dropped from my label and they said, "We're not putting the songs out anymore." And I wasn't going to put them out on my own. And I didn't have enough of my own stuff ready to release to the world. And so I was like, I got to put something out. Let's do some Christmas stuff. Like that is, that'll give people some content, it'll give me stuff to perform, but I'm just not ready to put out my original stuff yet. So that was kind of the reasoning behind the Christmas album. I know I should be like, yeah, Christmas is just my passion. But I do love Christmas, but that's the truth.
I love it. Well, you know what? The truth, like I said, put it out there, be transparent. Honesty is the key here on the Backstage Pass. I'm going to go to the audience and pull up a comment here. There's some great comments coming in, but this comment, I'm going to take it here on the show just because it's a cool thing. I love it. So, I hit the wrong one, but Carol, thank you for tuning in. But I love this one. Look at that. Somebody's tuning in here. Look. Yeah.
Get out
Okay.
of here, Caleb. Is he home? Caleb, are you here?
I love it. He's like, is he home?
He left, so that's weird. I don't know where he's at.
I love that too. So, well, you know what? Thank you for Caleb for tuning in. What that's pretty cool too. Let's talk about this story because I didn't know if I was going to get to it today. But what was cool is he said I'm in the basement. Is what he says there on the comment box.
Of course he is. He's so sweet. That. He watches all my stuff.
So yeah, Idol's done that sometimes too. The romantic things of bringing people together and just the things. I mean, did you ever? No, nobody can expect that kind of stuff. But how? Okay, that's a cool story. Share that with me a little bit as far as the man hitting it off and just there you go, just happily ever after, right?
You know what? I feel like I'm giving you a lot of behind the scenes scoops today. So why don't I give you some more?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, well, listen to this. So Caleb and I were dating, and it was like top 50 when we started dating. Okay, so then, production started finding out about it. We tried to keep it low because we didn't want people to find it. We didn't want it to affect the competition, blah, blah, blah. And the morning of the finale, the executive producer comes up to me and Caleb, and there's still 3 people left. The executive producer comes up and she says, "Hey, so Ryan Seacrest found out about your relationship." And I'm like, "Oh, I wonder how." So Ryan Seacrest found out about your relationship. Are you okay if you and Caleb end up being the top 2 tonight? Are you okay with them like exposing that on TV? And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, are we the top 2? Like, why else would she say this? Votes are in. She knows this now. So I went up to Caleb, and so I was like, sure. And I didn't really know what to expect. Because I had so many other things on my mind. I still had to sing that night. I had to get hair and makeup done. I had all kinds of stuff I had to get done that day. So I wasn't really thinking about, well, how are we going to play this out tonight? So I went up to Caleb and was like, oh my gosh, we've got to be the top 2. There's no way she would just say that to us if we weren't the top 2. And he's like, no. He's like, don't get in your head about it. Like, don't. I don't know. She could have just been saying that. And I'm like, why would she even ask? Why would she even ask if we weren't? So I was like, in a way, everything was a conspiracy with me on that show. Everything. Because everything that happened, I would dig so deep into it and be like, well, they asked me to come in at 10 a.m. and I am the 4th contestant to be here today. So what does that mean? And I would look into everything and think that everything was a conspiracy, which I think a lot of things were not a coincidence. I think there were things that I was right about, and people like to tell me that I wasn't right, but I think I was. And anyways, that was a whole thing. And then that night I was like, Caleb, you take it. Then Ryan came out and asked, and I looked at Caleb and was like, do your thing. I'm going to stand here. And then of course we're singing and Caleb grabs my hand. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was so tense and was just like, first of all, I hate PDA and I've always hated PDA. In high school, I remember when I had a boyfriend in high school, all the couples would sit in the hallway with each other after lunch and stuff. And I would always be like, I didn't want to get too close to my boyfriend and didn't want to sit too close to him. And because I hate that. I hate PDA. I'm not into that. And so when he holds my hand on national TV, I'm just like, no. I don't know how to react. I'm very tense. I go backstage on commercial break and I get a text from my dad and he says, hey, you need to look more affectionate out there because you look really stuck up or something because you're not being very lovey-dovey back. And I was like, you try being on national TV and having someone hold your hand. So I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. And so then we go back for Disney night a couple of years later and we perform, or a year later, and we perform and he holds my hand again. And I'm like, Caleb, no, stop. And he knows though. He knows how to sell it. He knows that America loves the story, blah, blah, blah. And I know they do, but we don't have to feed them everything that they want all the time. And so then we recently went back and recorded our duet together that is going to be airing on Monday. And
Awesome.
I told him, you are not holding my hand again. We are not doing this again. So what does he do after our performance? He gives me a good old fist bump.
Fist bump. I like that. I love
And
this
I was
too.
just like, now people are gonna think that we're just buddies and like American Idol is making us date. So you can't win, whatever.
There was a little response we're getting from it as we tune in there. And of course, I love this one right here.
Of course he does. That's what
Yes.
he does. You should chat with him on your podcast because he is a hoot and you have a good old time, you two.
I'm sure we'd probably laugh. And Caleb, the invitation's there. If you want to come on, my friend, we'll definitely talk behind the scenes and get it arranged. And there you go. The significant other said, guess what? Need to do this podcast. And you just listen to him. You say, yes, ma'am, and move on. There you go. So he said he's in. So there we go there. Hey, I wanted to have you play one more for us here on the show. We'll take a quick time out. We'll come back. We had a little rapid fire to get through, which is kind of a cool series of funny questions we get to ask and get to know you more on a personal basis there. There's actually a good audience question, but at first I want you to play another one for us here on the show. And Juliana's tuning in on my YouTube channel, so she gets a chance to ask a pretty cool question. I'm going to go ahead and ask it to you because thoughts can roll in the brain too. What keeps her grounded as an Iowa girl? So, yeah.
Am I answering that right now?
Go for it. Let's do it.
What keeps me grounded as an Iowa girl? I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to answer that. I don't know. Coming from the Midwest, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. Caleb says corn. There you go. There's your answer.
There's your answer, corn. I like that too. But
wait, what song do you want to hear? I did not.
You know what? Man, I tell you what, if I get to pick one, how about Going, Going, Gone?
Oh boy. Okay, you seem to like that one. So we'll do that one.
I love it.
Okay. You ready? Oh, he's not on here. I'm taking over.
I'm back. She's taking over.
Here he comes.
It's all good. Here we go.
All right. That's too high. That's the wrong key. Sorry, guys. I'm staring at the ceiling. The clock, it won't stop ticking. I feel like I've been sleeping for too long now. It's like my heart stopped beating, and now I'm hardly breathing. And I'm afraid of leaving, scared to break down. And what am I waiting for? 'Cause I don't want to wait no more. And I'm the only soldier in this lonely war. And I don't want to fight myself no more. But maybe I was meant to run. Maybe I was born to bleed. And I don't know who I'll become, but I'll be going, going, going. And even if it starts to hurt, I wanna feel it till my heart burns. 'Cause I won't be forever young. So I'll be going, 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 going. Ooh, this is a hard song to sing. I forgot about this one. Take me like I've been starving. Kiss me without a warning. I don't care where I'm going. Throw a dart at the map. I'm ready to be reckless. Care more so I can care less. Got money in my mattress. It's a start, yeah. And what am I waiting for? 'Cause I don't want to wait no more. And I'm the only soldier in this lonely war. And I don't want to fight myself no more. Maybe I was meant to run. Maybe I was born to bleed. And I don't know who I'll become, but I'll be going, going, going. And even if it starts to hurt, I wanna feel it till my whole heart burns. Because I won't be forever young. So I'll be going, 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 gone. Wow, it's been a while since I played that one.
And you would know it out there too. Like I said, just love it. So many great comments coming into Juliana. Midwest girls are best. You know what? Hey, I'm gonna agree with her right there too.
Yes, they are.
Never been to Iowa, but I would love to travel up there. In fact, actually, I'll share a story with you off the air. I'm not gonna share it on the air here, but there's a story about me maybe going to Iowa for the first time this September. But I'll share it off the air with you because it has a lot to do with music and it's a networking thing and definitely I'll talk about that too with one of my artists, because people that know me I actually own my own booking agency, so I book shows for 7 artists that I have on my roster now, so it has something to do with that. So definitely we'll talk about that with you off the air. It's pretty cool, no doubt. Definitely got to share that. So here's some of the other comments coming into as well. A lot of hearts. Maybe click on those little hearts and rainbows, emojis, whatever they are too. And it's a good question here from Jerry. I'm gonna take this one here. New stuff, more pop based, to get that from hearing a snippet of the new song.
Yeah, so this is something I was worried about, and that's something that was in my head for a really long time. Is when I was on Idol, I was doing more Americana folk kind of stuff, and really acoustic singer songwriter stuff. And for a long time after the show, I was so concerned about switching genres or trying something new because I was so worried about, the people who had voted for me, were they going to accept a new thing? And since they voted for me and I did that genre, are they, do I owe it to them to stay in the same genre? And are they going to like me as much? And so, yeah, the new stuff is totally different. Not anything like, what I was doing on the show, which I know not everybody's going to love. And, but I think it's really in every part of life, we change, we grow. And I think it's been a really important, past couple of years for me. I've definitely grown a lot and kind of just, discovered who I really am and what kind of music I want to put out. And so I hope that people can appreciate that, it's still me, but I'm just kind of finding myself a little bit more and I'm not as lost anymore.
I love that too. Way to talk about it through the honest standpoint, look through it in that lens and know what type of artist you want to be and stick to your guns. One final timeout. We'll come back with a little rapid fire, maybe a couple more audience questions here. Get a word in for Bangtail Whiskey. It is Friday. Check them out, easyliquor.com. Get that bottle sent directly to your door, and you get 750 milliliters out there, so that'll last you a while unless you just chug. Mine is still lasting from last year. It's a big bottle for like $40. Can't beat it, and you can mix it with anything out there, your favorite cocktail, and it's some good stuff out there. Also, thanks to MitchMacs.com, the official merchandise provider of the show, and of course, our good friends at Hank Jr. Productions. One final timeout. Back with Maddie. About 5 minutes left in the show, and definitely we'll come back and talk about just some cool stuff and get to know her more on a personal basis. Hang tight.
The Bangtail pour is comprised of a sweet corn mash base. The front has a subtle sweetness and not too sharp. It has notes of a medium char or white oak for a smoky flavor in the middle, and the tail has a super smooth and warm finish.
Behind the scenes with some of the biggest artists in music today with the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. Join Brandon Morrill and his co-host Kirsty Krause as they talk to rising stars and legends about their music careers. Listen to their latest tracks and learn fun facts about the men and women behind the music you love. And be sure to tune into the Backstage Pass Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And welcome into the Backstage Pass. And back here on the show again next week. Some really cool shows. We've announced those on the page once I found out what they were and who was coming on. The good thing is there's always a good show out there at the SportsGuysPodcast.com. And of course, we'll have some NFL draft talk maybe coming up this weekend. Tonight, it's Riverfest. I'm going to eat a funnel cake for Maddie Poppe and, of course, hang out with John Wolf and Flatland Calvary tonight out there at pnriverfest.com and just some good old Texas festivals. Cannot wait to get out there and do that too. Back here with Maddie on the show, thanks to Bangtail Whiskey and Hank Jr. Productions and our good friends at MitchMacs for making all this possible every day to do this. And I feel like I don't have a job. This is just a great job to do. It's fun, it's entertaining and exciting. Hey, to get to know you more on a personal basis, I'm going to start with a question over here. And Gary chimes in because I love when audiences have the interaction. Tell me about, you're working on your house. What was that experience like?
Oh no, you can look. Well, this is working on my house right here. See that? Oh, over here. See this? Yeah, I'm not finished working on my house. Clearly, I've got some wallpaper that I have not bought, so I'm not just roll over here. That's kind of how it's going. No, I love to do DIY renovations in my house and Caleb's house, and it's like I don't love anything as much as I love doing like home renovation and like give me a room and like $500 and I want to start that show. I want to start a series, okay? That is like the $500 room challenge. And all I do is you give me a room and then you say, okay, go. And my challenge is I have to transform this room for $500. And that means I go to thrift shops, Goodwill, garage sales, estate sales. I find all the cool stuff, cool furniture, cool art. And then I paint and I redo the room. And then it's the $500 room challenge. And that's the show I want to start because I love doing that stuff. And I feel like I don't get to do enough of it. Actually, I do get to do enough of it. I spend way too much money. So I need someone to fund it.
I'll tell you what, if you ever get to that point, we do that, I would gladly put in my resume if I could host the show for you. We get that on some type of network or something. I'd be glad to host it for you if I could.
Wow, how fun.
Do that. How fun would that be to be able to do that? So if you ever move the needle in that direction, feel free. Definitely lots to talk about behind the scenes. Do that. All right. So when you guys get a night in to just kind of do nothing and chill and just hang out, is there a favorite food that Caleb or you like to cook? And if it's like one of those nights you don't feel like cooking, what's kind of like the takeout order?
So I am a horrible cook. Horrible. Caleb does all of the cooking. And if Caleb's not around, then it's Velveeta shells and cheese in the little Easy Mac cup in the microwave for 3.5 minutes. Or it's, ordering something in. And currently, Caleb's a great cook though. He makes stir fry, steak. He's recently done this like orange chicken concoction that's super good. He is, but I've recently really liked Chipotle.
Oh, okay.
And I'm obsessed with Subway. I know it's a weird thing, but like everything about it, the smell when I walk in, I want to make that smell a room spray because it's so amazing. You know what I'm talking about? When you walk in, there's nothing like a Subway smell.
It's the best, no doubt. I can see that just the bread too gets you kind of going your nose to the oven over there, and then you start going right by the counter, and it's like make it right in front of you too. I guess that would be a great way, great business idea, man. She is an entrepreneur, no doubt.
I'm
I love
full
that.
of them. I got plenty of them.
That's why we're going to talk off the air about some things there too, no doubt. All right, let's say Maddie wins the lottery tomorrow, wins the Powerball. What's the first thing she'd do with the money?
$500 room challenge.
There she goes. Look at that. All right. I should answer my own question. $500 room challenge. There'd be a little bit more money than 500 to put in there from the Powerball, but somebody just won it. Maddie, 400 and something million. It was like, holy crap. I mean, it was just like, man. So
I won the lottery. How much am I winning?
Oh man, just so Powerball, just say 50 million. Just say right off the bat. Maybe 100.
Okay, well, that changes things. First off, I'm going to buy my dream house in Nashville. And then I'm going to buy a bunch of little properties that I can rent out and Airbnb because I bought a house in Iowa and I wish I would have bought some investment properties instead because that is a way to just like do nothing. You're just sitting on your money and you're just making money doing nothing. So that's what I would do. I would be smarter with it. I would buy my dream house for whatever. And then I'd buy a bunch of properties, Airbnb them. And then I would probably fund a new record and like have I could pay anyone, anything. Like, if you have enough money, you will be number one. Like, it's just the truth. If you pay off everyone, $1 million, if you pay all these, everybody's going to take you to the top. So if I had $10 million to spend on a record, are you kidding me? I would have an amazing record, and it would do so well. So that's what I would do. And then I still have some money left over. Then I'd start my TV show, the $500 Room Challenge with Maddie Poppe.
I love that. Juliana
There you
says
go.
$500 room challenge, cause semicolon Midwest edition.
That sounds so amazing. I really should. I should go get some lottery tickets tonight because
it's a good idea. I've been playing too, and it's like the quick pick stuff, and you're like, "Yep, 2 lines, no power play, cash option, 3 lines, 4 lines."
I've never done any of those.
Oh, really? Oh man, I tell you what, we got a lot to talk about off air.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Go through a few things. I'll tell you what, it's always fun. So we'll definitely come up with that. All right, let's do this. Marvel, DC, growing up, the movies. Of course, the new Batman just came out. I guess on HBO Max before, I guess after theaters. Marvel, DC. What were you into growing up?
I've never seen a single movie from either franchise.
Really? Okay. Well, they recommend.
I know.
Batman.
You know what? Thank you for not judging me. Usually people are like, "You're crazy." It's like, no, I don't judge. I grew up on SpongeBob and iCarly, so that's it.
I do not judge. It's one thing I've learned about everything in life. Don't judge people. Do not judge a book by its cover. Don't do that. What about binge watching yourself? You and Caleb. What are some shows you get into when you binge watch?
We loved Love is Blind, Love Island. We love all of the very dramatic love shows that are just like probably embarrassing for the people, but it's so entertaining to watch. We love those. Just the reality shows. Oh my gosh, what we loved so much, what was such a good time to watch was Dexter. We loved, you know what? We should start that again. I'm going to ask Caleb if we can do that again, because that was so like, just brings back so many memories. And oh my gosh, I just love that show. And it's weird because you wouldn't think I'd be into that, but like Caleb got me hooked. Caleb watched it twice through. And then the third time he's like, "Are you with me?" And I was like, "I guess I'll watch it the third time through." And I was obsessed. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to watch it tonight with him.
I don't blame you. All right, back to food. When it comes to a Maddie Poppe pizza, what toppings go on it? And nobody can have a slice. It's just for you.
Wow. Okay. Well, here's what it is. It's a thin, crispy crust. Ooh, but the edges are stuffed. So you gotta somehow make that work. The edges are stuffed. And then no, I take that back. It's a giant school pizza. You know those rectangle ones?
Yep.
Okay, it's a giant one of those in that texture and everything, except it has Canadian bacon and stuffed crust, and there's black olives on the top.
Ooh, see, I do not judge, and I've never ever had a pizza with olives on it, so I'm going to take a recommendation. I feel like
I've maybe one time, so I don't know.
Take a bite, don't judge until I just get the flavor there with those toppings, and take it just as you put it there, no doubt. Well, I tell you what, man, this has been so much fun. The single is fantastic. It's one that got away across all the digital platforms. We're just so glad to track you down, and just congratulations on all the success you've had since coming off the show, on the show. And of course, I know there's more coming from your camp later on this year, and definitely just continued success going forward. And thank you so much for making time for me and to talk to us about music here in Texas. And like I said, may God bless you and Caleb going forward, no doubt.
Thank you so much. That's so nice. This was so much fun. This hour literally flew by. I can't even believe we've been on here that long.
It's crazy.
And thanks to everybody who's tuning in, and thank you for reaching out to me. It's a pleasure to be here and to see all those faces, all those familiar faces. I saw Grace Kinsler on there and stuff, so that's cool.
Yeah, she's something else too.
Yeah, so thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
You got it. MaddiePoppe.com. And of course, One That Got Away. Make sure you guys go check that out. Thank you, Juliana, for the comments. I always appreciate that. We strive for perfection here on the show. So great interviews. We take very much great pride in that. The YouTube channel is The Backstage Pass. Of course, the website powered by the Sports Guys podcast.com. Hope your team did good last night's NFL draft. And I know my Cardinals, I was pumping my fist for my Arizona team. Can't wait to go back this year and see Hollywood Brown in a Cardinal uniform to go along with my boy DeAndre Hopkins. So we'll have more on that through the weekend. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and the sponsors. We'll see you guys tonight at Riverfest. John Wolf and Flatland Cavalry. We'll do some Facebook Live stuff out there, and it'll be a funnel cake. And I'll have to send the picture to Maddie on the phone. We'll do that tonight out there at Riverfest. See you guys Monday on the Backstage Pass. Until then, have a great weekend. Take care.